Okay, here we are now in chapter 40. I went ahead and jumped ahead and I skipped a lot of tutorials, which I will go back to in chapter 39, which is a continuation of character rigging. But the tutorial that I completed in chapter 39 for character rigging will get you to the basic spot you need to be at in order to get your 20-second animation completed. That's the one we've been working on here now in weeks 3, 4, 5 now. Okay, so so now the next step in this major process is we went ahead and you modeled your rig. I'm sorry, you modeled your character, in which it's now a mesh. You now know how to create a cat rig for your character. Now what we want to do is put the mesh onto that rig. Okay, and we want to also refine it. We also want to refine what the rig looks like. So as a tutorial, we're going to go ahead and open Mr. Marvin Moves from chapter 40, and we're going to open up the rigged model. The rigged model contains the mesh and also the rig. Okay, so let's see. So one of the basic things we need to do initially when we bring the model in is we need to first of all skin the bones by applying a skin modifier onto the mesh. So the first thing we need to do is unlock the mesh and get it out of X-ray mode. So what I want to do is come up here, and then I want to unfreeze all, and then I want to hit Alt X, and gets us back to a colorful Marvin the Moves here. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is go ahead and select the mesh, and we want to apply a mesh modifier. A skin modifier. So the text tells you can do that from up here from animation, and then you can just go, let's see, where in the heck is it? I never get it from here. I always get it from over here. In this case, I'm going actually to this window. I don't know if you remember, I said that sometimes I bounce back and forth. Just kind of depends on where I remember, the easiest place I remember to get it from. So I go to skin, right there, that one. Okay, so now I have this skin modifier applied to the to my mesh, but it really doesn't know, and I'm talking about the mesh doesn't know, hey, what bones do you want to go ahead and include in your mesh? So I go to the modifier, I go down to below the parameters, and up in this box right here, I can start now adding the bones that are going to influence the mesh. Now, since Marvin here is all one mesh, I can't break him up into like components like his shirt, his pants, his shoes, etc. But usually the models that you create are going to probably be broken up that way. But in this case, Marvin's here is all one mesh. So what I want to do is I want to add the bones, and the author tells you to go ahead and put in all the bones except for, the rig itself, except for the footsteps, and I'm looking for that plane down here. I don't want to include that, and I can't select it there, so I'm going to platform, this one right here. So I'm going to deselect it, and then I'm going to hit select. So now all these bones are now influencing the rig itself, and this we can see by if we move that arm, and notice the arm moves, but notice one other thing. Look at his antler. His antler is moving as well, and that is because this bone right here is influencing vertices up here. And when I first started doing this kind of work, both in Animation Master and earlier versions of 3D Studio Max and in Maya, I found that used to be a real pain. And now, which the tutorial for today is going to be how to modify the influence of your bones so that it won't modify parts of your mesh that you don't want to. Now notice the skinning went pretty fast. I mean, if you have a fairly simple model like a pencil, in which has only one bone system in it, you're home free. That's pretty easy. But here, where you have multiple complicated bones affecting complicated mesh, that's another story. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and get back to a 0 position and then come right back. Okay, I got Marvin back out the way he's supposed to be, and excuse me. And let's see. Well, one of the first things we want to do is we want to add a stress rig or a stress animation position. And what that does for us is it takes some important bones that are in the rig, sets them to an animated position, and there we can kind of see what kind of influence the movement is creating on the mesh. See, it's a good way to check to see if our bones are affecting the correct areas. So the way we do that is, let's go ahead and I'll select this rig here on the bottom, and we want to go to motion, and we notice this little button here on this animation. Let me look at what that is. Okay, I'm going to expand this out a little bit here. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to select the play button here. Right now it's in setup mode, and I want to hit play, but no, I can't hit play until I hit I select an absolute layer, animation layer. So go ahead and hit that, and that should have added an animation. There it is, right there, absolute. Okay, so now I can go ahead and depress this, and I'm in play mode, and I can animate my character. Again, what I want to do is I want to animate him so that I have a stress position. Okay, so what I want to do is tweak him up like this, and I may want to get into his clavicle area in order to, let me back out of here. Why it's not fun not having this scroll wheel on my DigPen. Well, it kind of makes life tough. It makes, using a Wacom DigTablet is great for some things, but like with the scrolling in and out, that really makes it cumbersome. Let's go ahead and I'm going to hit Alt X to get into wireframe mode, and I want to hit that clavicle there, but you can't seem to pick. Keep on getting the. Let me go ahead and I'm going to shut off the mesh here real quick. And I should have isolated this on its own layer. Move skin here. Turn that off. Move that out of the way. Let's see if I can grab the clavicle and just kind of rotate it just a hair, because I want to see what this bone is influencing, how much of the mesh. So I'm going to go ahead and bring back the mesh. See if anything really kind of like went wacky. Let me now get to the leg. I want to use his controller, but I don't see it. Let me just select the leg here. Lift that up. Yep, just lift the whole leg, mesh up. There it is. Okay, you can see I got some busts in here. Oh, here's a controller, finally. Okay. Yeah, you can see I have some stuff going on here. And unfortunately, what I should have done was I should have gone ahead and animated this pose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit Auto Key and call that a start position. Come over here to a spot and just kind of like key these. Up, come on. Okay, and then I go back to 0. Now, the cool thing about this is I'm going to kill these keys later on, so if it's not perfect right now, that doesn't matter to me. Okay, down, over. Okay, there we go. And this one I want to rotate over and then rotate down. Okay, now I have a bit of a stress, but notice how Marvin's ear is just kind of, or his antler is kind of going along for the ride. And that's what we want to fix, okay? So what we want to do now is hit Q, and I select the mesh. I want to go ahead and close this up, give me a little bit more real estate with Marvin here. And I'm probably going to, yeah, let me do that. I'm going to kill, you can't see it, but I'm going to kill the whole cat rig. Turn it off. Whoa, there's something else going on there. That's interesting. Something else back in there. So I'll just leave it the way it is. And oh no, this is kind of the kind of what I wanted here. Okay. So since we have the mesh going on for us here, we're going to go ahead and select it. And we're going to now move to, let's see, modify. And I want to go to, here we go, edit envelopes. Okay. Now, what edit envelopes does for us is it looks at a particular area. Notice Marty's head here has an envelope around it. And what that envelope is telling us is how much of that envelope, which is related to the bone, is affecting the head bone here, is affecting the mesh. Okay, so I can select the particular bones just by looking up and down this table. So I don't have to have the bones on. I can just go ahead and select the bones from this table here. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom in here. Oh, there we go. Okay, now take a look at the whole system here. What the envelope is telling us is that if we expand this, this is the area of influence that these kind of like capsule-like looking things are affecting. You see, notice if I kind of expand them out, you know, I'm increasing the influence that these little capsules are influencing the skin mesh. And again, this envelope is relative to the bone that I've selected, which is the left arm. Okay, so then I can affect the size by picking any of these little vertices in here and just expanding it back out. Or if I need to readjust it, reposition it, I can hit one of the ends of the yellow line and readjust it this way. Okay, just kind of like fit it there. And notice I'm a little off, so I want to bring it forward. And wonder, got to get that other yellow one in there. So this could take you a while. And the one thing I want to tell you about the here we go. Getting there. The one thing I wanted to tell you about the this envelope is this is your first cut at refining these vertices. Okay, you're going to use the envelope just to get a rough approximation of what you want to do. You're then later on going to use a couple of other tools to further refine the selection of the vertices. So now what you've in essence done, let me pull this down because I think this larger one here is affecting the antler. Okay, pull this one down as well. Okay, and notice that I'm still affecting the antler, and it maybe not that bone that's affecting it. But let me run this antler. Okay, one of the bones is affecting these. Okay, now what I can do is see, sometimes these bones come out and they're surprising at where they end up, or I'm surprised at where they end up. Okay, but you kind of get where I'm going with this this adjustment. Just kind of fit it into your rig and kind of move on once you get going. Okay, so let's say I'm not going to tweak the lower arm because the upper arm is just the same, but you can see how I can pick the different arms just by kind of like going down this list. Okay, let's see. See, this bone right here is influencing these this antler. Okay, so let me go scroll down here to the bottom a little bit. And I'm looking for vertices, this little toggle right here. Let me stop the video and let me clean some stuff up, and I'm going to be right back.